listener production.
Hi, Natarsha Belling with you and welcome to the afternoon edition of The Briefing. Coming up in our deep dive, it's being called the case of the century, which could change the Australian business landscape forever. The ACCC is taking on Coles, claiming it engaged in a planned campaign to mislead consumers over price discounts. We'll unpack all of those details in just a moment. But first, let's check the afternoon headlines this Monday, the 16th of February. Alleged Bondi gunman Naveed Akram has appeared in court for the first time. The 24-year-old is accused of carrying out the deadliest terror attack on Australian soil in December last year. 15 people were killed and dozens more injured at the Hanukkah celebration. Akram only spoke 2 words during the brief court appearance, where he's facing 59 charges, including murder and terrorism. South Australian Police have announced a new search for evidence related to the disappearance of 4-year-old Gus Lamont. Authorities have returned to Oak Park Station, around 400 kilometres north of Adelaide, where Gus was last seen in September last year. Police say the search is expected to last 2 days. No evidence has been discovered so far in what police say is the largest search in South Australian history. Earlier this month, police declared the little boy's disappearance a major crime. Meantime, police are appealing for information after an 85-year-old man was kidnapped from his Sydney home. Authorities believe it was a case of mistaken identity and have not received any ransom notice yet. Detective Acting Superintendent Andrew Marks had this message for the kidnappers.
They have the wrong man. What I can say is that to those that are responsible, please release Mr Bagzarian. Let us know where he is. We're looking to get him the assistance and the medical assistance and treatment that he requires, and we'll do the rest. Let us know where he is. Please put him somewhere safe. Contact somebody. It doesn't have to be the police, but just contact somebody to say where Mr Bagzarian is, and we'll do the rest. We'll take care of him.
And former US President Barack Obama has sent the internet into a meltdown after admitting aliens do exist. Here's what Mr Obama had to say when asked about aliens in an interview with Brian Tyler Cohen in the US.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in, what is it?
Area 51?
Area 51. There's no underground facility, unless there's this enormous conspiracy and they hid it from the President of the United States.
So the truth is out there. Now it's time to get into our deep dive on the first day of the federal court case between the ACCC and Coles. The consumer watchdog is alleging the supermarket giant misled customers over price discounts, including during its famous Prices Are Down promotions.
Down, prices are down.
Is that a special?
Nope, it's down and staying down every day. Down, prices are down.
Coles is defending the case and has rejected the allegations. Joining us to discuss today's historic case and its implications for both companies and consumers is behavioural economist Meg Elkins. Meg, thanks so much for joining us. Alan Fells has called this case the case of the century. Why?
Well, it's a changing day because for the ACCC to bring a case against Coles, it must have a lot of evidence. And if ACCC gets it wrong, there's a huge price. If Coles are actually perceived as wrongdoing here, then that has huge ramifications, not just for the supermarket industry, but a whole range of industries. So that's why he's called it a changing day, because it's not just about supermarkets. This is about whether we trust discounts.
So this entire case between the ACCC and Coles, as we know, one of the biggest supermarkets in the country apart from Woolworths, is centred around their price discount program. Can you explain exactly what that is?
So maybe you will have seen the ads over the last few years that was down, down, prices are down. And the whole premise of this particular campaign was that you had everyday prices that were discounted for a long series of time. Now, when this case took place was when we were experiencing high inflation. So it was 2022, 2023. And what came about was there's a few savvy little consumers that thought, hold on, these discounts don't feel real. I remember that price being higher just a month or so ago. And so they started tracking and checking prices. These consumers then alerted the ACCC, and the ACCC then went on a 15-month investigation of what they were doing with prices on, and they looked at 245 breaches in products across a range of everyday prices. So what we're watching here is the idea of what we call deceptive pricing. It's not predatory pricing. So what the ACCC was alleging is that over a period of time, there were several everyday products. And what would happen that they allege is that for a certain period of time, let's say throat lozenges, I think this is the case that ACCC have bought. So they said that the lemon and honey throat lozenges were $6 over a period. And then the prices allegedly spiked up to $7.40, and then after 28 days, they came down to $6.60. And on the little tags, this is what the ACCC is alleging, that they said that this is a discounted price. Now, this is what the ACCC calls illusory pricing. So it looks like it's a discount, but whether it is a discount or not is actually what the ACCC is taking Coles to court over.
Now, important to note in all of this, Meg, that Coles is defending the case and has rejected the ACCC's allegations in court documents. But why is this so crucial? As in, this is a very, very historic case in Australia's history, isn't it?
Well, neither party wants to get it wrong. If it gets it wrong, there are huge ramifications. For Coles, it's a $50 million fine, but not just a $50 million fine. There can be consumer cases against them that they might have to pay back. They also might have to donate money to charities here. And for ACCC, there's a lot of resources that have gone into this case. And I know this is on the government's radar. We went into the supermarket inquiry in 2023. I know I did a lot of media around that supermarket inquiry, and they are wanting to protect consumers. But of course, Coles have very deep pockets and they don't want to have this case come forward prematurely. So they did a 15-month investigation. They had 255 alleged price discounting that's illusory that they're looking at. And if they get it wrong, also you need to remember that Woolworths is coming. So if they get this one wrong, then they won't go ahead and prosecute Woolworths. You could assume that maybe there's a stronger case here, but why they're taking on Coles first. But it's not just the discount that we have for Coles. This means discounting for a whole range of organisations. If it's deceptive and illusory and it's not a genuine discount, then the ACCC now is on notice and there will be a precedent not to do this and for the huge fines that could potentially beget a company doing this.
Now, there are allegations, and I was reading a couple of articles over the weekend about this, Meg, that the ACCC, I'm sure, will actually investigate this further, but allegations that this may have been a strategic business practice for allegedly to make profits. So if that is proven to be correct, they were alleging that this was a directive. What implications will the board face? What implications will the CEO face?
We have to remember when this took place. It was inflationary. So everyone was assuming prices were going up everywhere. So that deceptive element was that you could trust Coles that the prices weren't going up. And if it is a genuine tactic that's taken place here, then that doesn't look good in terms of trust between the consumer and Coles, that to trust that prices are discounted or whether they are genuine savings. And particularly, we're in a cost of living crisis still. I mean, interest rates went up only a couple of weeks ago because we've got this hot economy still. The economy is, particularly on the demand side, is still hot. So we're looking for discounts wherever we can find them. And if the discounts aren't genuine discounts, then who can we trust? And when it comes to the board, if it is a management practice, it's one that feels a little bit sneaky.
Meg, Coles claims that their price increases were justified because of inflation, which we know was at a high of we hadn't seen for 30 or so more years. But interesting to note, one of the allegations the ACCC is bringing is actually surrounding a can of dog food. Now, we know that that was advertised at Coles for $4. Then for 7 days, the price of that dog food increased by 50% to $6. And on the 8th day, that price was then set for $4.50 as part of the product and the scheme of down. But then they're alleging that that was misleading.
Correct. And that takes a savvy consumer to realise that it has gone up. So are we checking prices? I would ask. Would you check prices, Natarsha? Are you looking at how much you pay for dog food every week? And in your head, the fact that pushing it back on the consumer to make sure that they are actual savings, or it is what it is, it's a lot of mental load. And while we are in inflation, I've been writing about this inflationary practice for a bit now, and I think they did this because they were under pressure. We did at that time have supply chain issues. There were issues with energy prices. There were issues with supply chains. I can understand that they were also facing pressure. But then they should have taken away that down prices are down campaign that they had, because perhaps that is the deceptive practice, because what they were saying is we're keeping prices down. But if they were fighting these supply chain issues, then perhaps they should have thought of a different strategy.
Meg, in regards to great question you just asked beforehand, would I notice a price increase? I notice price increases and price discounts all the time. But why should the onus be on us as consumers to check if we're allegedly being deceived?
This is such a good question because it's about trust. That we want to believe what an organisation says it's doing, that it's actually doing. And if the onus is on you to then watch all the time, it feels like an excessive burden. I mean, you're obviously quite savvy on these things, but what happens if you're not savvy? What happens if you're a really busy mum with 5 kids and you're trying to find the best deals and you don't have a lot of time and you don't have the mental load? Then you might be buying elements at higher prices because they said it's a discount. We respond really quickly. If something's salient and it says a discount, we immediately assume it's a discount. Should we have to second guess whether it's a discount or not? I don't think so. I think that we should trust that if something says it's a discount, it genuinely is a discount.
Meg, in regards to how this may set a precedent, and important to note again that Coles has denied these allegations, if this does set a precedent, how do you think it could change the Australian landscape? Because this will put all businesses, especially multinationals, on notice.
It's a $50 million fine. I mean, I know people say these companies earned over $1 billion in profit, but 50 million is not something to be sneezed at. And it's a significant fine, but it's also saving face. A brand's trust is everything. And if they are allegedly using illusory prices, then I think that this would be a precipice. It's really on ACCC to prove this case. And I think it's a test case for them. They've resourced heavily into this, backed obviously by the government, who really wants us to look at supermarket prices. But the ramifications are for all industries, for all pricings, for all elements. And given that we are in an inflationary period, we want to know where our deals are because we want to be able to be savvy. And I feel like if they don't take notice, the ACCC will be emboldened by this particular case if they win and know that they can go after others. If they don't, then I don't expect we'll find Woolworths will be next. That's why Alan Fels says this is a big day. You've got the might of the ACCC against the might of the supermarkets. And it's the first time we're really witnessing this coming together of clash. Can I say, I need to be really clear on this. This is not called predatory pricing. This is over deceptive pricing, though. It's not predatory.
It is certainly a case we will watch with great interest. We appreciate your time. Thanks so much, Meg.
My pleasure, Natasha.
That was behavioural economist Meg Elkins. And that's it for this episode of the afternoon edition of The Briefing. We'll be back in your feed tomorrow morning with a deep dive on the alleged corruption within the CFMEU. And we'd love you to subscribe or follow us on Instagram at The Briefing Podcast. I'm Natasha Belling. Thanks for your company.
You've shown no remorse or apologised for her death.
Hi, I'm Alison Sandy, National Investigations Editor at the 7 Network.
He was the last person to see her after they had an argument at their family home.
And I've got a new podcast out.
I've got nothing to say to you.
Kiss and Kill is a deep dive on some of the nation's most notorious killer narcissists and expert abusers.
Very deliberate manipulation.
Examining their telltale signs and patterns of behaviour.
To make her think that she's nuts.
Do you know the single biggest predictor that somebody could escalate dangerously?
So you know exactly what to look out for.
Is that they are controlling.
More women are being murdered by their partners than ever before.
Introducing Kiss and Kill.
He used to call her princess.
To listen, search Kiss and Kill on the Listener app or wherever you get your podcasts.